Now the new modern monetary theorists, I think Zack Polanski is one of these. Um, they're we're recording this on Sunday, so I don't think the new podcast has come out. But I saw one of the clips of The Rest Is Politics, and Zach Polanski is coming on, and they put out a clip of him talking about how we don't actually have to worry about the bondholders and the markets
Yeah.
to borrow money, because of course the government is in charge of, well, the government is in charge of fiscal policy and really in reality monetary policy as well.
Yeah.
We don't actually need an independent central bank. And we can control things like inflation with fiscal policy. So I don't know. I'm still sort of unconvinced, but I could be convinced in that direction. It's the question of how important is it for how vital is it that the market sort of controls our borrowing and
This is
controls our
I
policy.
hate to say it, but I think I agree. I am skeptical, and this is coming from someone that has worked in finance for a number of years and worked in finance during, again, the bond turmoil during the Liz Truss budget, made a nice margin betting against the rest of the markets, and I could have done the same this time. I always find before a budget there's a huge overreaction, or during, just after the budget, there's a huge overreaction to, oh, this is really bad for the UK economy, we hate everything the Chancellor has said. And then it takes a couple of months, if you buy at that point, it takes a couple of months for the markets to realise, wasn't all that bad. And I think that's exactly the reaction that should have been, probably is going to be the case with this budget, that bondholders and people that trade bonds on capital markets shouldn't really freak out so much, because as much as we here on this podcast are sceptical of UK government decisions, and obviously we do out of place of wanting the best for this country, it's not really the financiers' place, right, to have such wild swings in their opinion based on really, I would say, quite minor changes to the budget. And that's why we did see like a lot of volatility pre-budget, but not so much post-budget in UK gilts.
Yeah.
And again, why should bondholders? I know my like very political colleagues in Parliament would say financiers should have no place in sort of regulating the UK economy. I'm kind of in the middle. They would say, well, we have to react. The bond traders would have to say, well, we have to react on the new information given. But as far as I'm aware, the credit rating of the UK is not going down. Yes, if you do something like release an uncosted budget, that is probably bad. But if you do a very average budget, maybe you've kept your bondholders happy, but you've kind of done that at the cost of doing anything too radical and too
It speaks to a sort of managed decline, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the whole crux of where we're getting to with this whole budget review, that it's not necessarily that this was like a good or bad budget, but what was the point of this budget?
I think I think it's certainly true. I mean, at the end of the day, the economy depends on how much how many resources, how many real resources we generate as a country, and bondholders freaking out on the markets doesn't. I mean, nothing has really changed with the amount of real resources we're generating as a country. I mean, it sort of depends. I'm not sure, because how does that fare with countries like ours who import a lot of things, and it sort of depends on us being able to having a good standing with the rest of the world that we import from, them being able to trust that we're going to keep control on our inflation, that our money is still going to be worth something in the future. We sort of do have to maintain a trustworthiness around the world, but why does that have to come from? Why does that have to come from? Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I agree, and I don't think unless we are planning to radically increase our debt in the future, in which case obviously cost of borrowing debt capital does matter. It doesn't when it comes to global trade, and that's the kind of things we should be focused on right now: increasing our trade, increasing our exports, increasing our production, aggregate supply, all of it. And it just feels so, I don't know, shitty sitting here and talking about like basic A-level economics, that the Chancellor and everyone in government and everyone in the Treasury Department should already know this, right? And so there's no strategic leadership on this front, and that's why it's a huge like flop, and especially for our generation, just not seeing any kind of stimulus or growth package for us particularly.